Even if Sheena punched her, even if, worst case scenario, do we believe that Sheena poses a physical threat? Do we feel that Raquel truly believes that Sheena poses a physical threat to her? The answer has to be no. And if that's the case, Bravo has to say, are you out of your mind? We are not tolerating this. There's 8 million people on this cast. You've shown your whole ass. We don't even need you anymore because nobody likes you. Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
What's up, cocktailers?
Hi, cocktailers. Okay, so, we've all been in the thick of Scandoval for now a couple weeks. In the middle of all of this, though, we got an email about Taylor from Southern Charm hooking up with Austin.
I know, and it's funny because of Scandoval and everyone's collective investment in this wild, wild ride. I feel like people are glossing over the fact that and here I go with my name confusion, Taylor, who is Olivia's good friend, hooking up with Austin. Now, the thing about it is, it's important that we focus on the timeline because a lot of this was reported, I reported it. Somebody clarified for me that the timeline is important, and the reason it's important is because Taylor hooked up with Austin around the time of the reunion. Now, Amanda, you remember that we were posting, as were many other accounts, that there definitely seemed like there was an attraction. Remember all that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you could see it.
Right.
You could see it. It came through the camera. But we also were getting tips about it too.
Yeah, and I think that we all felt like Taylor wouldn't do that because at the reunion, Olivia was clearly still upset about Austin. Okay, they were not ever a serious boyfriend and girlfriend, but clearly she was very into him, right? So I think that Taylor doing that, if Taylor had done it now where Olivia is past that, you and I know and the cocktailers know that Olivia actually is dating somebody and he chooses not to be filmed. So we're not going to see it. So I don't even know if we'll know on the show that she's got a man, but she's got a man. So if Taylor was hooking up with Austin now, it would be okay, she's over him. At the reunion.
Still sloppy seconds, though. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if you call it girl code or rope code or whatever code you want to call it. Just look elsewhere besides your friend's exes is I think just good life advice.
So we know that you and I feel that way. But here's the thing that I think that even those who don't agree with that stance will be a little surprised about. Taylor, I'm hearing, is very much whatever, Olivia. I said I was sorry and get over it. So Olivia's holding on to resentment and Taylor's basically annoyed at that. And we're seeing this, by the way, this is what's being filmed. So they're talking smack about each other. Obviously, it's getting out because I'm hearing it. Taylor's actually very concerned that Olivia is trashing her this season and what it will do to her image. Now, we know that Olivia can hold her own.
Mm-hmm.
Last season was really her first season and she really got right down and into it and she wasn't scared of Madison. And if you're not scared of Madison, I highly doubt you're going to be scared to get into it with Taylor. But basically, Taylor just expected Olivia to accept her apology and move on. She thinks that, Taylor's feeling is they weren't dating seriously and get over it. Now, obviously, we know that very sadly, Olivia's brother passed. I think it's important to point out that this did happen prior to that, okay? But Olivia is still grieving. Obviously, her brother just passed. And Taylor's, still has this, kind of get over it stance. I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
Austin and Olivia are both single. That's Taylor's main point. Oh, and they also are both like, well, we didn't date. So, like, what are you mad about? Like, we just hooked up. We also learned that Taylor hooked up with Whitney. Did I tell you that?
I think this is an exclusive because I don't think you have told me that.
Oh yeah,
With
she hooked up with Whitney. I guess we'll see that on the season. It's giving Raquel, make me relevant, let me do shocking hookups, make me a storyline. It makes you wonder what was all with Shep to begin with. Was she using him to be on television? Stranger things have happened. We had COVID in the mix of that. Did she stick it out so that she could be a reality star slash influencer slash Raquel?
I mean, it worked for Naomi. I mean, Naomi did a pretty similar path in terms of penises.
Yes. And well, her penis, she ended up with a very rich penis at the end of her path.
I mean, wouldn't it be great if they were all rich? I don't know. Taylor doesn't strike me as a dummy. I think she probably did figure like I better double down back to the penises to secure a spot. Right? Like,
Yes.
you know, or it could be, I don't know. I felt the thing with Shep, however she got there, and maybe there was some sort of maneuvering to get in front of him in the first place. I think what they had was real, which makes me wonder, could some of this just be that she's just trying to get back at Shep too and like get under his skin?
Which I would be fine with if Taylor wasn't using like Olivia as collateral damage.
Yeah. I mean, I think this whole thing with Taylor and Olivia and their friendship is, you know, there's definitely Taylor could, it sounds like she's not being very sensitive. Taylor could have taken a more sensitive approach, be like, I'm sorry, you guys weren't together. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. Our friendship is, you know, more important to me than that. I messed up, right?
Totally.
But it sounds like she's maybe not doing that, which you've got a good point about that. So
obviously we're going to see.
Maybe, oh yeah,
we're going to see Shep's reaction too.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys, maybe Taylor is the mastermind here. And she is like, look, I got out of the show. I, you know, secured myself a spot. I also got back at Shep. Like, I'm winning across all over things. And, you know, my friendship with Olivia is collateral damage. That could be, she could be, you know, all of this could be on purpose. And this could be all by her design. It's hard to say.
And I guess the argument is like, yeah, they're friends, but if this is her true desire to have big reality fame, listen, Catherine's gone, Naomi's gone. It's you know, there's an opening, and
well, yeah, they need an HBIC. They need a head bitch in charge on.
Somehow doesn't have that energy to me, regardless of what she. I
agree.
I feel like Olivia has that energy because she's got more of a bitchy side.
Agree.
Well, not a bitchy side. I shouldn't say that. More of an outspoken side. But you know, I have always felt like it's the quiet ones you need to watch out for. It's the ones who act all holier than thou. Those are always the snakes. Sorry.
I mean, look at Catherine. When it was her first season or the first season, she kind of comes out of nowhere and seemed quiet and demure. And I mean, look at what like her whole arc and how that's all turned into. So I think that's interesting.
Catherine, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to throw in here because you probably haven't even seen it. There were some, I forget, somebody posted that she's got an eviction notice again. I mean, we posted this back in December. And like she said no, and then they said that in, you know, Charleston, the laws are very strict, and if you miss your payment by a week, and that's why she got it, okay, but like it's happening again, so how many times are you going to forget to pay your rent and get eviction notices? So, I mean, obviously it's not shocking that she's strapped for cash because her main income has dried up, so that's sad.
Yeah, that is sad. Do you want me to read that email that we got about Taylor and
yes, give us some context.
I had that in my notes. So, okay, so I almost forgot to bring this up. So we got an email and it said, hooking up with her friend's ex isn't the only shade of Raquel that Taylor shares. In the same way, it seems Raquel used James to be on the show, the Charmers have collectively realized that Taylor may have used Shep. This evidenced by her hooking up with both Austin and Whitney this season. She's willing to do whatever it takes to make herself a good storyline. As a result, none of the girls want to hang out with Taylor because they think she's a social climber, stepping all over them for reality television fame.
Totally forgot about this email. Thank you for reading it.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think the Shep relationship, maybe the way it started wasn't genuine, but I think the relationship was.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I don't know. You have to just question all the motives.
Yeah. So, speaking of the Rochelle of it all, okay. So, Vanderpump Rules was on last night, but everyone's been talking offline about the reunion. So Sheena's lawyer, Sheena?
It's Sheena.
Sheena.
It's still Sheena, Amanda. It's still Sheena.
I really don't do it on purpose. Her name is not pronounced the way that it's spelled in my mind, and that's why I have a hard time. Okay, and I think it's because her last name was Shay that always throws me too. Sorry, Sheena. Sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. I really didn't. Okay, so her lawyer came out and said it's really up to Bravo executives, but I mean, they cannot be physically within 100 yards of each other as of the current order, her lawyer has said. So one of them may have to skip the reunion, or maybe Raquel, and this is a quote, or, I would be calling her Rochelle, will have to zoom in, but they can't be within close proximity of one another, and they can't be directly communicating with one another. So it's going to be tough to make this reunion show happen with both of them. He goes on to say that even if Rochelle is present via Zoom and Sheena is there in person, there can be no direct communication or even communication through any intermediaries. Wow. If the date is changed, however, both women could be present. While the lawyer noted that it is quote unquote possible for the restraining order to be made permanent at the hearing on March 29th, Sheena intends to present her witnesses and her evidence and to disprove those allegations. And she's excited to have her day in court and have the judge hear both sides of the story. So as we know, Rochelle is saying that Sheena pushed her against a brick wall, which caused injury to the back of her head, punched her in the face, causing injury to her left eye. Rochelle's claiming that she has a cut above her left eye and blurred vision. And then Sheena has denied all of these allegations through her attorney.
Okay, first of all, this infuriates me. It infuriates me that Raquel is doing this. Everyone is saying that there was a push, there was no punch. Last night's episode, which was a whirlwind, just knowing what we know now, seeing Raquel is just... what a manipulative, I can't. But she had black eyes. When she wasn't wearing makeup, she had that like under eye. And I'm not body shaming or face shaming or anything. It's some people have dark circles under their eyes. It's fine. It's a thing. She doesn't have a freaking black eye from Sheena. Furthermore, like, why should Bravo have to postpone the reunion? And why should Sheena have to take one for the team? I say Bravo calls up Rochelle and says, listen, bitch, you either drop this bullshit restraining order or you're off next season. Period. End
and
of
you're
story.
Not paid out for the rest of your season, this season either, because that's part of their contracts, from what I understand.
And it's a clear tactic.
They have to go.
It's a clear tactic.
Yeah.
Even if Sheena punched her, even if, worst case scenario, do we believe that Sheena poses a physical threat? Do we feel that Raquel truly believes that Sheena poses a physical threat to her? The answer has to be no. And if that's the case, Bravo has to say, are you out of your mind? We are not tolerating this. There's 8 million people on this cast. You've shown your whole ass. We don't even need you anymore because nobody likes you. I mean, and Andy said last night, didn't he say, like, we have it figured out? Or
yeah. Well, first of all, guys, like, all of us, we need our reckoning And like Rochelle has got to show her like face and sit down. Like, we need it. So Danny Pellegrino asked Andy on Watch What Happens Live last night, asking how they're going to do it. He seemed kind of worried. And Andy, I wouldn't say in a dismissive way, but was like, don't worry about it. We got this. Like, kind of a like, we're professionals. We know how much you guys all feel strongly about this. And, you know, I felt good about that, like that they're kind of handling it. So, I mean, this is what I think. I mean, Sheena and Rochelle do not need to be in the same room. Like, those are not the two key players in any of this, right? So,
no, we want to see, okay, here it is. We only need Rochelle to do her little thing and then get her the fuck out. Let everybody talk about what a bitch she is without her there. Is she going to walk in with Tom? Are they showing up as a couple? What is going on there? What is the body language? Like, outside of that, bye.
We need a reckoning. Like, we need Rochelle in the studio, assuming that Ariana will even do it, because maybe Ariana's like, fuck that. But we need Rochelle making eye contact face to face with Ariana. Because I feel like those are the two, or the
and like
three of
I
them.
feel so bad for Ariana that she has to do that. That would be like the only thing is like for Ariana, if she didn't have to face her, it probably would be the best thing for her personally. But unfortunately, we're on a reality show and we have to face the music.
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be a reckoning. Like, we are like bloodthirsty as Bravo fans. We have to have this, and Bravo knows that. Like, nobody, we all see through her thinly veiled attempt to not have to face the music on this reunion. Like, it's gonna happen. They're gonna move it. They'll move the people around. They'll figure it out, because Rochelle will get, you know, if she doesn't show, they will cut her pay, right? Because I know a lot of their pay is tied to them actually coming to the reunion. And I'm sure they can dangle the possibility or not possibility of having another season because of that.
I say that they make her cut it. Like, they make her not cut it. They make her get rid of it. And then we have Lala, Amanda, posting a picture of Raquel in a very similar outfit, even down to the makeup colors and the ribbon in her hair that Lala wore. So,
Yeah.
so next thing I know, one of my followers sends me a picture of Raquel in an outfit very similar to one that Ariana wore, and they both wore them recently around Valentine's Day. I mean, like, I guess what I'm sort of trying to figure out here is how much of this is really sociopathic, how much of this is her just really being lost after her breakup with James. Is that even a thing? Or was she always a user? Is she really just a fangirl who wanted on? How much of this is sad? Because the episode we just saw, if it weren't for what we now know, I think that the audience would have sympathy for her, right? I think that she was kind of being picked on by Lala and Katie and Kristen Kelly.
They were totally giving mean girl vibes, but now we know that maybe there was something else that the girls were picking up on.
Well, like,
right?
Katie said it. She's like, there's just red flags about her. Why does she like these guys who are taken or other people are interested or are getting out of a divorce? And she didn't know then that it was what we were all going to find out. I did think it was very interesting how Raquel really stood up for herself to them and said to Lala, Oliver chose me and you're jealous. And like, she really put them in their place, and then like even said like, I'm going back to LA and I'm going to hang out with Schwartz and Sandoval.
Ugh. That was just a full-on like, yes, she stood up for herself, right, by saying Oliver chose me. But then she just like dug the knife into Katie and was like, F you, I'm gonna go hang out with your ex-husband, who I have said to you and I have said to him that I want to make out with. Like, that was
right.
that is where I'm like, okay, I think there's something more to this. I don't think that was just a lashing out situation. I mean, here's the other thing I thought after watching that episode, because I don't know about you, but I was pausing it a lot to like look at people's reactions and the way that Tom Sandoval looked when Rochelle walks into the guys' night, like, it said everything to me. Like, clearly, in my opinion, either this is what something had happened with them. I think
Well, so I don't even know if we have said this, but there's all these podcasts, and Kristen came out on something called the Vial Files podcast and said Tom Sandoval and Rachel did make out at Coachella. So now she's confirming that they did make out at Coachella, which is a debate back and forth. I personally think without a doubt at this point that it was going on.
So I think it could be they made out at Coachella, felt guilty about it, stopped for a while, started again after Vegas, or it was going on the whole time since Coachella. Because you just look at his face, like, go back and look at it. Like, it's like, I know I'm supposed to look like I didn't know you were coming, but I knew you were coming, and I'm trying to play it cool kind of look. 100%. That's all I needed to see to know that something. And we had heard about Coachella, right?
Right.
That's all I needed to is see his face.
So the other thing, we had posted that allegedly Tom and Raquel were both missing for 3 hours at Sheena and Brock's wedding, and people were speculating that they were hooking up. Jamie, a girl named Jamie, who's not on the show but is friends with them, Jamie All Over is her podcast. She was on it with another friend of theirs, and they confirmed that. Basically, when this all came out, Raquel spoke to, not Jamie, but the guy she had on her podcast. I'm sorry, I don't know, I forget his name. Because she was very good friends with him, and she kind of just admitted everything. And they confirmed that they were hooking up at the wedding. Like, what? Okay, here's what...
She made out with Schwartz at the wedding, too. Because there's pictures.
Right. You're right.
So Schwartz knew back then, too. Schwartz has been the beard the entire time.
Absolutely. Okay, so now, Amanda, this is the conversation that no one has had, that I haven't heard, and that I want us to have. Andy has come out and said that he did not edit or reshoot these upcoming episodes. Lala has said it. Katie has said it. I believe him. I believe them. Beyond that, we've been hearing since the beginning that we're going to see stuff. Here's my question. We know cast members suspected it. A couple of them shared with me that they did. Is it possible that production fully knew about the affair? And what exactly do they do with that? You know, Lala posted something. It was her talking to her producer, and it was sort of an odd clip. And basically she was saying, wait, I thought only so-and-so could hear it. You all can hear everything, even when we're not like, whatever, like however editing is done. They're like, we can hear everything. So is it that production knew and they just kept mum on it? At what, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, did production know about this affair? And is that why it's kind of shady edited? Because they were almost dropping Easter eggs for us. And had this not, let's say that this didn't come out.
All right. So, okay. We have talked about this topic before of like, if the producers know something, they don't tell the housewives, right?
Like in Miami with Lenny.
Yes,
and Lisa.
That's exactly what it was. And
right.
I was like, I don't think they told her. And so I think they sat on this. So I think you bring up a really good point, and that either production knew something or suspected something, just like so many, because I'm sure that they've also picked up the castmates talking about, like, isn't it weird that she shows up to all this? Like, because they're like kind of the god in this, and they see everything, so they get all the pieces and can put it together. So I actually think You're 100% right. I think that they did know. And Andy did say only the next 3 episodes we haven't edited. So we'll see, and maybe they'll even break the fourth wall and say, like, look, before Scandival broke, we didn't include XYZ scenes, but we've gone back and added them.
Do you know what's funny, Amanda?
Context.
I remember thinking when the first episode came out, before we knew about Scandival, I was surprised at how good it was, because I remember thinking, and some of this is like our perspective because we talk about it every week and we're posting about it for so long before the show airs, that I was like thinking to myself, I hope Vanderpump isn't stale, because they had such good stuff, but so much of it has been leaked that will it feel stale? And boy, I couldn't have been more wrong.
Nobody would have guessed, and
right.
Even before all this, right? Everyone was like, oh, it's good again. We have more focus on the people that we like, know and like. And, Sheena's being shady, and there was plenty to talk about before Scandival. It's just, I think everyone is just like, the fact that this is going to play out under everybody's eyes and that we're going to watch it is, I mean, it's just crazy.
I think
nobody can get over it.
I think that it's always like a good reminder, a scandal like this, because it brings all Bravo fans together, right? Like, we're so often choosing sides and choosing teams. And like, I loved Kate Casey's perspective last week. She's like, I'm not pro whatever. I like just watching their lives. Like, that's so evolved and so good. But unfortunately, I'm much pettier than that. And I absolutely choose sides, and it can change. I mean, within one season, I can ping pong, but each episode, I'm like sort of on a side, on a team, whatever. And when you have something that we can all agree on, like, so many followers messaged me after last night's episode, and they said, like, I would have so much like empathy for Raquel in this situation with these mean girls, except that, like, screw her. So I do think it's unfair for us to negate the fact that, we're painting with a broad brush and being like, oh, she used James and blah, 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 blah. We don't know. She could have genuinely loved James, and she could really be hurting. Does that make it okay to do this to Ariana, who was so good to her? Absolutely not. But maybe, I don't know.
James's mom was all over that, though, at that lunch. She's like, kept talking about how he and Allie met organically. They met organically, unlike Rochelle, So,
you know what? James is no saint, and that's great. That's his mother. Of course, his mother's going to have that view on it. But, like, let's call it for what it is. Like, come on. But Tom's mom, Kristen Doughty, said Tom's Sandoval's mom knew about the affair since December.
Because Rochelle went to freaking St. Louis for Christmas with Tom. Because that's where he's from.
I don't even get that. I don't even get how they... But, like, how could Sandoval's mom allow him to do that to Ariana? I mean, okay, that's the wrong word. You can't say allow him. Who knows what
Tom was saying? Who knows what he was saying to his mom? He could have been like, Ariana and I have been done. Like, we still haven't gotten out of the house. We're kind of stuck until we can sell it. But I could see him totally spit. I mean, if he can pull off this whole thing, of course he can lie to his mom. So I don't want to blame his mom in this. And so, and we don't know. I will if she knew and she like was okay with it, then we'll blame her.
I guess my thing is this. So his mom knew. Did she think that they were broken up? We don't know the relationship. I know that, like, typically, like, I speak to my mother-in-law. So, like, if Ariana is talking to his mom in any capacity, which maybe they don't, she would have to be like, I'm so sorry that you guys split. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah. We need to figure it out. So, guys, if anybody has any scoop on this angle of the story, I'm very curious about it, because we need to know. We just need to know, how much the mom knew. And, because I would think, that at the very least, even if he was like, look, we've been having this affair, Ariana doesn't know yet. We're going to tell her. I would at least think the mom would be like, okay, but like, don't drag me into this. Please don't, don't bring her to our house for Christmas. Like, do your thing. I love you unconditionally. I don't agree with it. Right.
Right.
I would think that would be the conversation if, assuming like that everybody leveled with each other. I don't know. If anybody knows anything, tell us, guys. Does anybody know where Tom and Rochelle are right now anyway?
I have asked a couple of sources and I don't know. I think Tom's around, but I don't know where Rochelle is. And I think they're together. I mean, I think they're together. I think that's what it's going to be. I can't see them going the distance, but for now, right?
For now.
And Ariana finally made a statement. I shouldn't say finally. Ariana made a statement today, and basically she thanked everybody for their support. And then she said, what doesn't kill me better run.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved that. And she has the revenge dress on, looks amazing in Mexico.
Yep.
Good for you, Ariana. Better things will come. This shitstorm is going to pass and there will be a better person for her. I know there will.
And just take time for herself. I have to imagine being in a relationship for that long and being totally duped by that person has to be severe trust issues, right? Because it wasn't they had a cheating scandal, at least that we knew about. They pretty much had a solid relationship. I know there was Miami Girl, whatever, but they pretty much had a solid, almost decade-long run. I mean, that's wild to go from that to this. It's not the same as James and Raquel. They were together a couple years. You know what I'm saying? It's totally different. A decade is a decade.
It's it's a major gaslight and all the minor gaslighting that must have been happening day by day. Right? And wait, why is Rochelle here? And wait, oh, you were getting her water at 4 a.m? Oh, okay. And all of the just oh, who's texting you? Oh, it's just, this is what I'm making up. But, oh, it's just, Schwartz. Or, oh, Rochelle is just sending me a stupid meme or whatever it is. And it's that's
and
what
who
I
else
keep
did he
thinking
cheat
about
with?
All of those little moments. It's just the little mini gaslightings that's just got to be fucking with her head. And I bet it's the little things that are really sticking with her and messing with her head more than even the bigger things of all the little minor lies and was this real? And wait, what, he got me something for Christmas and then he went off at Christmas with his mistress. And I can just, my mind would spiral there. So I can imagine that hers has too.
Absolutely.
So should we talk OC?
Let's talk OC. We haven't talked OC in a while, and we got some stuff rolling in about OC.
Yeah, we've got some scoops. So we know that people are begging for the trailer. Everyone's really ready. We know Tamra's back. We know Vicky will be there. Even Andy confirmed it this week on Watch What Happens Live, saying that she'll be on the show to a certain extent. And then there's been this whole Taylor coming from Beverly Hills, taking a few years off, and then coming over to OC. So then there's been some chatter about her really bringing it as well.
So I'm hearing that production has edited more than half the season of OC. Now they've started shooting confessionals, which we've seen some of the girls post pictures. Vicky Gunvalson has been filming confessionals. So what started as sort of just a pop-up is really becoming more... I mean, if you're doing confessionals, you're kind of a friend of, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Housewives.
Andy, by the way, also said when they were talking about it, he was like, you guys are going to be happy. It's a really good season.
I can't wait. Some of the Housewives have sent their taglines in. I heard Tamra's might be Housewives come newer, but they don't come hotter, as an homage to her season 5 tagline, which I like.
I love it.
We got an email that claimed that the reason OC hasn't aired yet, this is what they told me. They said it's because Bravo is theming its summer line up with the 3 fruits in the basket. Roni, OC, and Atlanta. So we have our apple, our orange, and our peach. And they will be airing within a week or two span of each other starting mid-May after Jersey wraps up. And they should be done by August, September, done airing. They will be replaced by, this is the plan anyway. We know that stuff happens. They'll be replaced by Salt Lake City, Beverly Hills, and Dubai after the summer, tentatively in October. OC will be the first of these 3 to air. So we're looking at a mid-May. Also, there's a lot of speculation. Has Taylor been promoted to full-time? Has Gina been demoted? Our source is saying we can put that rumor to rest. I don't know if they're still editing, maybe not. But Taylor's storyline is supposedly, we were all kind of like, she was boring at the girls' trip, right? At Dorinda's house. But she's talking about her marriage being in trouble. We're going to see a lot of that. Maybe we'll even see a split before the season's done filming. I'm hearing her history of dating women, which I think we briefly discussed on the pod. So my source is saying that her storyline is much more compelling than what Gina's bringing, which is basically jokes about her boyfriend's pee-pee. So, I mean, I never understood Gina. I'm not going to go there again. I'm just not.
I know.
I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it.
So we know Andy even said it, right? That OC's good. We know that the new Roni is going to need a strong lead in. So that would make sense to me, right? That OC gets going and then they either play Roni after, something like that. That this all kind of, and like we've seen them do this, right? They kind of like to flight stuff together. So, there was, until Potomac ended last Sunday, I mean, it was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, and you and I were making jokes about how it's like almost too much Bravo, right? And
right.
That seems to be how Bravo does it. So I don't know. I mean, I think that makes sense. I can't help but be curious about Heather Dubrow's name just not popping up in any of this.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like, where is she in all of this? Like, and we heard that, she kind of withdrew at part of this. Like, does any of this delay have something to do with her or with or maybe it's like back to Taylor having, if maybe there's still some stuff going on. So they're still trying to finish filming with her. Who knows?
Well, yeah, we are hearing the marriage trouble. There was speculation, and this wasn't from a source, but we were hearing that maybe Heather was trying to have some stuff cut. We do know that she's done that in the past, so I don't know if that's just speculation.
I'm ready for Tamra to be back on our
Totally.
screens. Like, she's just funny, and like she's always good to look at. Like, she's pretty but like put together. I enjoy her. Like, Vicky, I'm ready to give her another chance. Vicky, sometimes just her frenetic energy sometimes is too much when she's just like walking around her kitchen and like, she's a little too much for me sometimes. But Tamra, and then to see the 3 amigas back together too, I think will be fun. So we'll see.
Shannon.
I know. See, guys, we don't always agree. We do not agree about Shannon. I love Shannon.
Not a fan.
Yeah. Okay, so Summer House. I was actually just watching the Watch What Happens Live where Amanda was on with Rachel Lindsay, who had been on The Bachelorette. And Mark, Kyle. Why am I calling him Mark? God, what is wrong?
Who's Mark?
Kyle. I don't know. God knows. Kyle, Amanda's husband, is sitting in the audience, right? And like, I have to say, on the Watch What Happens Live, like, the games were so shady. Like, they are really trying to push, like, very purposely trying to push this narrative to the point where Amanda starts answering like Kyle to like, it's like, who do you trust least? And Amanda's like, I'm just going to say Kyle because he's the person I'm going to get the least in trouble with. Right. So It's just interesting that they're like pushing this fight so much. I don't know.
Well, you know what I found interesting? Was it Danny Pellegrino who said it last night when he was like, Summer House, like, enough. They're in bed half the time. So I feel like maybe they're trying to make it more interesting, and maybe it really just isn't that interesting of a season, and Couple House is really a flop.
It could be.
Lover, hater. I mean, Lindsay really is the only storyline so far.
Yeah,
you're right. It's centered around her.
Yeah. I mean, It'll be interesting when Corey comes. Hopefully that'll shake up the dynamic a little bit, because Andrea, as much as we love to watch him, I wouldn't say really, there wasn't a bunch of a storyline there. You're right. It really is kind of all about Lindsay and Carl right now. And Kyle, not Mark.
But on Watch What Happens Live, Andy actually asked about the Dumois blinds that were very clearly about Kyle cheating. And Amanda, you know that after Watch What Happens Live, we got an email like that. No receipts, just claims, nothing to back them up. And then do you want to read the other email that we got and posted?
She's activated one?
Yes.
Okay, so it's from She's Activated, subject, she's so pissed. This seasonal firecracker is super activated that she wasn't cast on the upcoming season. To add insult to injury, her former wing girl was. She doesn't get it since she says she's the exciting one. She is livid. She literally is pitching a bachelorette party spinoff like nonstop.
Wait, so we
reading
got
between the lines.
Okay, and then today in Lindsay's stories, she posted and was like, we should have a spinoff, a girls' trip with me and Ariana. Ariana's like breakup party and my bachelorette party. Okay, first of all, number one. So I polled it, and like 80% of people don't want that. They don't want a Lindsay bachelorette spinoff. But here's the thing: number one, you can't have that because you're celebrating, and like Ariana's not. Number two, what friends is Lindsay inviting?
I follow her on Instagram. She definitely has like buddies that she like features, but none of the Summer House crew. So, I mean, she's clearly worked her way out of favor with essentially everybody.
Yes. And, I'm just trying to figure out where Lindsay goes from here. Is she good in the show for drama? Yes. However, how do we keep her in a loop when nobody wants to be around her? We know that she's pushing for a girls' trip. She wants to stay relevant. She wants to keep being able to do promotions. And, when you're off a show, you lose a lot of deals. So she needs to be on a show. I very much think Carl is honestly over it. Yeah. I don't think he's interested in it. I don't think, to be quite frank, he's interesting enough to be on a show any longer, I do think Lindsay is. It's just where does she fit in?
Put her on Roni Legacy. Done. Then
no, not Legacy.
All right, not Legacy, the new one.
Right.
Jeez. My head is like all mixed up today. But put her on the new one, right? And then we still get to see like a little bit of Carl, but like Carl clearly doesn't want to deal with the drama, right? Like he's sitting there like looking at his phone when everybody else is fighting.
Right.
Because I understand that. Like it's you, especially if you're sober, and like he probably is like, I just want to go to bed, so.
Okay, but here's my thing, Amanda. Put her on Roni Reboot, but those are all women with like careers and stuff. Like her career is reality television.
Well, Lindsay, you better get to work between now and when season 2 starts. Get Hub House going back up. Get back to work with people. I mean, I would think that would be good advice for her regardless, because her future is not looking great. Unfortunately, as much as like I think she is great TV, like it's right, it's not looking great.
It's not, and it looks like she's spiraling about it. And so this email was obviously about her being annoyed she wasn't cast on Winter House. Speaking of Winter House, it's underway in Steamboat, Colorado. We're all seeing the pictures. We're getting pictures of them. Kyle arrived without Amanda. No big scandal. She had her close friend's bachelorette party. Then she had a virus. The Watch What Happens Live was pre-recorded. A lot of people were confused by that.
I was confused by that too. Okay.
She arrived on Tuesday. We know Danielle's there. Schwartz is there without Sandoval. Scandoval prohibited him from attending. This left production in a tough spot. I do hear there are some changes. I guess we'll either hear or see how that shakes out. Fans are very excited.
Oh, you know what? I saw Larry, Bravo by Gays, our favorite, today just posted that Alex from Summer House is in Steamboat too.
So I guess they had him because, again, I mean, we've discussed this. They're not bringing Luke back. I mean, that's a whole read between the lines there thing, but it's kind of odd they pick Alex over Luke. So just saying.
And there's that hunky guy. I can't remember his name, but with the hunky, like, looks like he would be on a romance novel cover.
Oh yes, Larry posted him too. He's very good. He looks like, I said, he looks like a mix between Steve Gold and like somebody else. And somebody said like Brody Jenner. I don't know. He's just very good looking. Fans are very excited for Brian Benny from Family Karma. We know Corey's headed there. Riley and Malia from Below Deck, both wild characters in different ways. Yeah, Andrea, they're not having back. I just think that they don't want Andrea unless he's single. And whatever. I mean, but why Alex over Andrea?
Because Alex is single. I mean, again, you and I are talking out of both sides of our mouth. We love Andrea, but we're tired of Couple House, right? Like, we're kind of over it. So, and I feel like Alex
Southern Charmers are filming, so none of them are going to be there. Or at least that's last I heard. None of them are going to be there.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see. I think it'll be good. I like that they switched up the location. You know, hopefully they'll be able to be outside more too and not just stuck inside one house like they were for the last season of Winter House. Okay, Jersey. What do we think? What are you thinking after the last episode?
Oh, Jersey. I mean, it's just, I think that fans are genuinely sick of the fight. I think that this episode was finally a happy episode because we love that baseball game, the charity event. People were fairly nice to each other. But I think that's the last nice episode. I believe Danielle said that on her Watch What Happens Live appearance. We know that what we're seeing is Danielle is the one who spills the rumor that Melissa cheated, which currently they're pretty friendly. So that's kind of messed up that she did that. But she is team Jen and Teresa. So this must be her initiation. If you want to be in with them, I guess this is her taking one for the team. Apparently the rumor's silly and baseless. So they even say that. But here's something, and I'm not sure if we discussed this, and I don't know if people know this, but I heard that Teresa and Louis called Joe over when they found out about the rumor. So now this seems to be why Joe's so mad, but he hasn't said, or we haven't seen him say yet. When Margaret's old friend told Teresa and Jen this, Louis and Teresa had Joe over the house and told him about the rumor. The thing about it is they told him it like to warn him, like, this is what we were told, and they didn't have Melissa there. Okay, they're married like 20 years, and this is some rumor. Why are you telling him this like without his wife there as if it's true? So it's kind of weird because then they're saying they know it's not true, but that would make sense. That would, if it turns out that that's the case, that would make a lot of sense why Joe's acting so bizarrely towards her.
Yeah. Yeah. That would help put a lot of the stuff in place too, of like why Melissa is also like kind of calling Louis out for being like, well, you're acting one way on camera when I know off camera you acted a completely different way. And, you know, it definitely doesn't feel like you had either of our backs. And and that's what Melissa keeps saying. Like there's stuff that we can't talk about that you'll see why Joe is so mad. So
right, exactly,
that would make it make sense.
Listen, I know a lot of the fans are sick of it. I just want to know what's what, and I want us to then be able to look at it and say, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. Typically, we do agree with Melissa, but I would like to see maybe there's something that we're missing. Maybe, because Teresa is mad. Now, is she just mad they didn't go to her wedding? It's possible, right? But if this is true, then maybe they had good reason.
Well, I remember we got a bunch of pictures that came in from the celebrity baseball game, and that was like midsummer. We know Teresa's wedding was on, I think it was August 8th. I remember it being like 8/8, right around then. And then we know right before, Polly has a party and there's a huge blow up at it. And then it was as a result of that for sure the Gorgas were not going to go to the wedding.
Right.
And you and I talked about it. We're like, oh no, maybe they'll change their mind at the last minute. And we know that that was not the case and that they were not there. So thinking about all of this, like the timeline, I mean, this thing with Teresa and Louis pulling Joe, I'm wondering if that even happened before the filming, and that's why Joe was so mad. And we just the story
but
is
something
being told.
else has to happen to cause them not to go to the wedding, because as things stand right now, they're planning on going.
Yeah, because we know that there's that party at Polly's and like there's a blow up.
Right.
We don't know what's said or what happened. So
we're staying tuned. We're going to have a lot of time to hash this out because I'm sure it's going to be dramatic.
Can I tell you just one thing I loved about this last episode?
Please do.
Jen Fessler and Margaret are sitting out and having their coffee mate outside, right? But what I liked is that Jen Fessler called Margaret out and she was like, look, like, you were out of control and so is Jen. She's like, but so is Jen Aydin. But she's like, Jen Aydin is not my concern. You are my friend. And like the way that she did it, I was like, this is a real friendship. This is a real person. This is the way that you come to somebody and say, look, like, I'm upset with your behavior, but I'm coming to you from a place of love. And like, let's discuss this.
Right.
I just loved that.
I really like Jen Fessler. And I like that she's not just a soldier, that she's actually true to herself and what she thinks and what she feels. And those are the kind of housewives we need. And so far, it seems that Rachel is that way too. Let's see if that continues. I wanted to talk about this quickly, Amanda.
Okay.
Because today on Jeff Lewis's show, he said that he's serving Gage with a motion to get 100% custody of Monroe. He said he said that Gage has been putting negative thoughts about Jeff in her head, and that Jeff suggested to Gage that she see a child psychologist just to help her and make sure she isn't struggling, and Gage refused. So today, Jeff served Gage, and the trial date is in May. Messy.
Jeff, that he's even sharing this on the radio. I
know.
So messy. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that might be a line, like a bridge too far to be talking about this. Like, maybe talk about it after the fact.
Right.
But like,
I agree.
It's just as messy on his part to be talking about this. Like, there's some things in your life that are sacred, I think. And Jeff Lewis, I think, is so well loved because he is so just open and doesn't hide anything from the camera. But to me, that is one thing I think it's super messy of him to share that.
Totally agree. Could not agree more. And I'm a big Jeff Lewis fan, and Gage overshares on Instagram, but Gage doesn't have nearly the platform. So it's really not comparable.
Yeah.
And the child is the one who suffers. So let's get it together, fellas.
Let's hope we do get her in counseling and that, everyone pulls this together and does what's in her best interest.
And I think we should wrap up on the note that I am hearing that BravoCon will be in Las Vegas first weekend in November at the Caesars Palace. Then, of course, another follower is telling me, no, it's booked in New York. But I have to tell you, the follower who told me Vegas gave me supporting information about themselves that I cannot share. So, although not a living soul has said this, and we haven't heard it anywhere, I'm going to go on record and say I do believe it's in Vegas. Don't think it's possible for them to have a BravoCon mid-October and then first week of November. Not sure they could pay the talent and venues twice. So,
yeah,
I think it's true about Vegas.
It just makes sense, guys. Like, that's really, honestly, probably where they should have done it. Like, I was thinking about this after you posted it, and I'm like, of course, because Hotel rooms are super easy to get. At Caesars, right, there is, I believe there's a conference center, like right there.
Right.
They could even, and they have like, there's even like a whole separate part of the hotel that they could actually just put Bravo talent in and totally keep everybody separate for security reasons. So they don't have to do the like, everyone hops into, the limos together kind of thing. All the logistics make more sense. It makes so much more sense.
Totally.
I 100% believe that's what's going to happen. So I might be going to Las Vegas and you and I can, maybe like dress up as showgirls or something so that nobody suspects that it's us.
Oh, yeah. Very casually just walk around as showgirls.
I mean,
I just want to know how many of the house husbands are caught with escorts. That's just what I want to know.
I mean, there's a lot. It's legal there. As I said a couple weeks ago, God bless sex workers.
Absolutely, except the wives probably don't love it. Cocktailers, as always, thank you for tuning in. And
thanks, guys.
Till next time.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Just want to ask you guys a favor, just getting kicked off. So many people have been asking us to do this podcast. So please do subscribe. And if you've subscribed, go to your podcast app and hit those 3 little dots to share with your friends, but only friends who like good tea, because the ones who don't care about tea, then like forget them. And don't forget, find us on Instagram at @BravoandCocktails_. And check out the website because some great tea gets put there daily that would get us kicked off of Instagram. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.